Referee Tommy McDermott sets the second half in motion, and it's absolutely everything to play for and to fight for. Anthony Tohill, inspired no doubt by what Eamon Coleman said at half-time. A very important kick for Anthony Tohill. Hits it well. Excellent play by Anthony Tohill. Considering the ground conditions, that was a superb kick. The sides are level at 5 points each. He hit it beautifully. It seemed to gain momentum as it gained height right over the middle of the crossbar. Very poor kick out by Gary Walsh. Comes down to Paul Carr, sending it up towards his corner forwards, but there's nobody there except Tony Scullion. Damien Barton switches it over to this side. Dermot McNichol can't keep his footing. Matt Gallagher cleverly along the sideline to Joyce McMullen. Brian McGilligan pushed off it by big Michael Gallagher. Big Mick sends it up, but there's nobody there except Gary Coleman. Good intelligent ball to Brian McGilligan. Sending a ball in towards Dermot McNichol. Giving it back to big Brian McCormick. Sending it in towards the centre. Damien Cassidy can't hold on to it. Comes back outside to Joyce McMullen. No fancy chips, nothing over elaborate. Brian Murray to Joyce McMullen. Now he's at the other side of the field. Still Joyce, needs support. Anthony Tohill got a boot to it. Gets it down towards Damien Barton. To Enda Gormley. Giving it back outside to Damien Cassidy. And already the second half is way better than the first. Cassidy, lovely skill. Point on here, yes! A little piece of magic from Cassidy. The Balahi man puts Derry in front by 6 points to 5. Now watch this for skill. It's Cassidy bursting his way through. The marking by Donegal left a lot to be desired. Now watch the little chip. Oh, beautiful. Take that. And over the bar. Now Eamon Coleman feels it's the time to perform like you've never performed before. The delay is because Gary Walsh seems to have pulled a muscle, a thigh, in the thigh, and Brian McInniff very concerned about Gary Walsh. And that in turn could mean a change in goalkeeper. Because his kickouts, I have been blaming the ground conditions for them more than anything else. Possibly he's finding it hard to just kick the ball from the ground. Gary Walsh was taking the kick out here. And you can see that he was in pain the minute he touched and kicked the ground. Gary Walsh seems to be able to continue on. Out comes to Joyce McMullen, sending it in low. Kieran McKeever is there, loses it out, but gets it to Henry Downey, back to Damien McCusker, to Johnny McGurk. He counted Laving. He was the one who actually captained them to the All-Ireland club title. Brian McGilligan into space, a race between Enda Gormley, trying to chip it back towards Anthony Tohill. Tohill giving it back towards Enda Gormley. Well, he lost out, and it's all over the place. But it comes back to Anthony Tohill. Big lad, 21 years of age, to Damien Barton. Going for a point, and he puts it over. Derry have come alive on the banks of the Foyle. Cassidy did it a moment ago. Barton did it now. That's 2.5 forward line that puts Derry 2 points in front. It was Tohill that gave it inside to Damien Barton. And the Newbridge man does a lot of hard work at centre forward, sometimes unnoticed. That was a good score. First first real test now for Gary Walsh. And again it goes along the ground, and he certainly is in pain as he hobbles back to the goalposts. It's Joyce McMullen. And Brian McAniff will surely have to consider changing his goalkeeper, or else getting one of the cornerbacks to take the kick out. Barry McGowan, Killybegg's man, loses out possession and gives it straight to Anthony Tohill. Is this the Derry team we saw in the first half, I may ask? Tohill survives the challenge from Paul Carr, giving it inside. Derry on the roll now. Damien Cassidy brought down, and it's a free in for the Derry men and for the challengers. Anthony Tohill, great challenge on Paul Carr. Hit him with a fair shoulder, down went Carr, gave it to Damien Cassidy, and Cassidy did well. Mark Crossan, I think, will be a little bit disappointed the referee gave him the free, but it doesn't matter, a hoop, because Enda Gormley gets his third point of the Ulster final. And incredibly, after 7 minutes of play, it's 8 points to 5 in favour of Derry. Gormley hit it well. John Duffy once more, giving it back. Martin McHugh, and it's a free for Donegal, and it's a chance for Donegal to level, or at least open their scoring and bring themselves a little bit closer to Derry. It was Manus Boyle who gave it into Martin McHugh, and he did well really, despite Fergal McCusker's attentions. I've often said, I know commentators say this is a vital kick, but this really is for the All-Ireland champions. John Duffy takes over from Declan Bonner, and John Duffy finds the target. His first point of the Ulster final, and the All-Ireland champions are now just 2 points behind. A valuable point. And here come the Ulster champions. Shovlin just taking his eye off it slightly. Survives the challenge from Joe Brawley. Gives it back to John Duffy. Takes on big Brian McGilligan. Has a deadly left boot. Giving it to another left boot called Martin McHugh. Being chased by McGilligan. And Henry Downey. Can two Derry fellas stop a Donegal man? Gives it back to John Duffy. Knocked away. And it goes out over the line. And a line ball for Derry. Henry Downey. Johnny McGurk. Just hold on to possession is Derry's motto. There's plenty of time. Damien Cassidy giving it back to Dermot McNichol. On to Anthony Tohill. And Tohill will use his strength to burst his way through. Still Tohill. Showed a little bit too much of it, but manages to get it out towards Enda Gormley. And it's Gallagher again that does the Trojan work for Donegal. Matt Gallagher and John Doherty and Barry McGowan have been inspiring in the Donegal full back line. Paul Carr, terrible ball. And it gives Derry the initiative. Fergal McCusker to Gary Coleman, to Anthony Tohill, back to the postman from Mahara Belt, to Fergal McCusker, going for a point, and Gary Walsh puts it out for a 45. And it must be said that if Gary Walsh is tested out a little bit more, I think that Derry could find Gary in a very perilous position, because that thigh muscle is definitely causing him problems. He was a wonderful build-up by Derry. Fergal McCusker said, here goes. And it was a ball that, under normal circumstances, Gary would gather cleanly. They put it out for a 45 instead. Enda Gormley with the 45. Sends it very much to the left. And once more is John Doherty. Giving it down towards Mark McShane. Gary Coleman staying right beside him. Well blocked down by young Gary Coleman. And Martin Gavigan is coming on as the referee sorts out a mess in the centre of the field. A little bit of aggravation creeping in. But Martin Gavigan is in for Donegal. And big Michael Gallagher departs the scene. John Duffy trying to get the ball. Johnny McGurk under pressure, and he gets the free. There's coolness personified, giving it back to the goalkeeper. Ball into space. Martin Shovlin spotted it first. Joe Brolly running for it. And Brolly, lovely pick up by Brolly. Unfortunately, Dermot McNichol couldn't keep his footing. Joyce McMullen giving it to Martin Gavigan. Ball in towards Kieran McKeever. To Tony Scullion. To Joe Brolly. Fergal McCusker. Dermot McNichol. It's like an Irish rugby line out here, just going across the field. Henry Downey sending a ball for Damien Cassidy. Matt Gallagher staying with him. Cassidy, deadly on the left foot. Manages to squeeze it out to Brian McCormack, but he sends it wide. 27 minutes gone in the second half. Gavigan, fouled by Anthony Toll, sending a ball up, comes up towards Donegal, and Dermot McCusker is there once more. Mark McShane had the opportunity, but Joyce McMullen gives it inside to Mark McHugh. He's going for a goal and dispossessed. Oh dear, Derry survive. Kieran McKeever under pressure. Back to Brian Murray. Can't get a fist to it, can't get a foot to it. Gives it back outside, and it's Anthony Toll that picks it up. It's heart-stopping stuff in Clones. Anthony Toll, Sigerson Cup winner with Queen's University, driving it into space towards Damien Cassidy. Matt Gallagher of Barry Mark Crossan it is that has it. Donegal midfield. A little bit haphazard, comes to Enda Gormley, going for a point, but he sends it to the right and wide. From a real chance for Donegal, it fell to Enda Gormley at the other end, but he hooked it very much to the right and wide. Time running out for the Ulster champions. Mark McShane. They have to get it up. Manus Boyle. Surely fouled, I would have thought, and referee Tommy McDermott gives the free to Derry. And Manus Boyle, I think, has a right to be a little bit angry over that decision. Johnny McGurk holding on to possession, unceremoniously brought down, and certainly referee has to control matters quickly here now. This came about from an aggravation, I think, more than anything else, and certainly Donegal players, few there, deserve to be booked by the referee. And Manus Boyle is being booked and being sent off, and referee Tommy McDermott, I felt, had no choice. And Brian McAniff telling Manus Boyle to stay clear. And it all came about from a decision by Tommy McDermott to give a free to Derry when Manus Boyle felt he should have gotten a free. 37. That's all they've got to do is hold on to it now. Joe Brolly, back to Fergal McCusker. Sending a ball across, which has gone wide. Referee looks at his watch. We're now 38.5 minutes gone in the second half. Will the referee blow the final whistle on this kick-out? The referee decides it's all over. Derry are all Ulster champions. Donegal have lost their Ulster and All-Ireland titles, and Derry have done it finally putting the Donegal hoodoo to rest. They've been unable to beat Donegal in Clonus ever, but they've done it today. And they did it with passion, determination, and certainly with a certain amount of style. It's all over for Donegal. It's a new day for Derry as they win this Ulster title on that scoreline. Derry 8 points, Donegal 6 points. So the Anglo-Celt Cup returns to the banks of the Foyle. Derry, Ulster champions 1993. Donegal are out of the All-Ireland title race.
We hadn't a very good first half. We started and stopped a few times, and we went in at half time and sat down and we had a good look at what was going wrong. And I said to the boys, I'm just asking you one thing. I'm asking you to go out and win your battle in your position in the field. And they definitely responded to me, and I think we won every battle in that last 35 minutes.
Yeah, told us what he thought we were doing wrong, and I think we sat down and had a good, sensible talk about it. Nothing too silly, as such. We identified the areas that we needed to work on, particularly support play and working off the ball. So those were the areas that we worked on, and I felt really within 10-15 minutes of the second half, I felt we weren't going to lose it, because that type of work was there, and we always seemed to be in control after the first 10 minutes of the second half.
Yeah, the defence was tremendous. I can't praise them enough. They were brilliant, every one of them.
As I say, the pitch was absolutely atrocious. I never played anything as bad, except for National League football, of course. For the time of year, to have a pitch like that is incredible, But that aside, I think that the work that we put in over the past year, from the start of February right through now until finally get what we've been trying to get us the last 2 or 3 years, and watch what has gone on before us and what's going on in Ulster, it's just unbelievable, really.
I was very, very annoyed about the conditions of the pitch, because that pitch does not suit Derry at all. Like, it doesn't suit Donegal or any team, but Derry likes a dry sod under their foot, and Tuchel and McGilligan, them boys, they're big and they're quick, and they don't like wet conditions. You can't play good football in conditions like that, and I think it was a disgrace.
I mean, there's no sense in going this far and not having that ambition. We'll certainly put in the work and the effort, and I feel we have the panel. We've no fear of nobody. We've just a lot of belief in ourselves, so we'll take one game at a time and the same approach to this game.
Down and Donegal certainly won the All-Ireland. Now, there's no good talking about it. We'll go home tonight and we'll celebrate tonight, and probably a good while tomorrow. And we'll go to Dublin. We'll go to Dublin next Sunday, and we'll have a look at the Leinster champions, and then we'll come home and we'll go to work and take it from there.
Well, Derry, the Ulster champions for the first time since 1987. The curtain falls on what's been a remarkable 12 months for Donegal football. Have no doubt, however, that they'll bounce back again to challenge for that title. Well, let's have a look at the statistics from the game. It certainly wasn't a great day for scoring. Just 5 points between the two sides in the second half, with nearly as many wides as scores in the game. Derry, the main offenders. Well, with conditions such as they were, it's not surprising that there was a fairly high number of frees, 46 in all, with Derry conceding just those extra few. Well, now on the programme, let's turn to our football analyst Colin O'Rourke. Colin, you're very welcome. The majority of phone calls, in fact, all the phone calls we've had so far into the programme are about the conditions at Clonus today. As Sean Curry from your own county says, it could have been a much better match had it been postponed, but we think we know what he means. John McCauley from Dublin says they're footballers, not swimmers. The game shouldn't have been played. And Amanda from Donegal said it was more like water polo than football. We heard the comments there of Eamon Coleman. Should the match have been played?
Well, I tend to agree with the callers. I don't think this match should have been played at all. The ground conditions were very dangerous, and I think it's just lucky that some of the players didn't receive serious injuries, and both sides played with great passion and commitment, and we can see here the sort of a lottery it was. Water spraying up all over the place, nobody able to hold on to it, the ball being hacked around the middle of the field especially, just pure muck there. Stephen Mulvenna having trouble getting the ball up, and muck and water flying everywhere. So I don't think this game should have been played at all in Clonus. Clonus is only a new pitch, and I think there would be question marks over whether Clonus is the right venue for Ulster finals anyway, because it's very difficult to get in and out of the place when there is a big crowd.
Okay, well, the match was played. Derry won, from what I saw. They won deservedly.
Yes, Derry were the better team. I think there's no question or doubt about that. I suppose a lot of people would say the conditions suited Derry. I don't think the conditions suited anybody, but Derry made the better use of the day, and especially the second half, were much the stronger team. Donegal probably had the better of the first half and should have been another bit in front at half-time, but Derry were in total control for the second half and really should have won this game by more, and they won't be happy that they went the last 25 minutes without a score at all.
What their supporters will feel, I'm sure, happiest about is, for a number of years, they've shown this kind of promise in Ulster, but this year at least they've delivered on it.
Yes, they have a very strong panel. I think that's one of the big advantages that they have. And they seem to have a belief and a commitment about winning titles that they hadn't got before. They were expected to win the Ulster title last year, and they fell at the final hurdle to Donegal. And they seem to have that great passion and commitment to win it this year.
So what was the difference between the sides this year then?
Well, Donegal, of course, were short some of their best players, and that has to be taken into account. Even though they threw in Martin Gavigan and Anthony Malloy to try and sort of salvage something near the end, you can't lose 4 or 5 really good players off any team, and when you get to this stage of the championship, expect to beat Derry, one of the best teams in the country. And Tony Boyle was a massive loss, because the Donegal forwards really struggled throughout the game today, and that's shown by the fact they only got 1 point during the whole second half.
And with Derry, with forwards like Damien Cassidy scoring some very good points, obviously that was vital to them.
Yes, I suppose all the good forward play was by Derry, and we can see a couple of incidents here. Damien Cassidy, a brilliant catch, turns around and puts it over the bar. And with conditions like they were today, 1 point was nearly the same as 2 on a normal day, because scoring was bound to be low. It suited backs. But here we have a brilliant point. Sells a dummy with his right foot and then clips it over with a stronger left foot. That's skill, and I suppose skill wins out no matter what the conditions are.
Mentioning the conditions, they weren't easy for forwards. We often talk about forwards, but they weren't easy for defenders either today.
No, certainly not. I suppose it suited backs, but anybody who had to turn around and then go running back towards your own goals, it was very difficult for them. But picked out a couple of incidents of very good defensive play here. One by Henry Downey, who shepherds Mark McHugh down to corner and dispossesses and wins a free. And the other by John Joe Doherty. I thought Downey and Doherty were two of the best players on the pitch today, and John Joe Doherty didn't take any chances going down on the ball, brings it away, and eventually wins a free here. Really good defensive play by those two players.
Colm, these two teams met last year, of course, as we said, in the final. There has been, over the last couple of years, a certain tension sort of brewing up between Donegal and Derry, which didn't exactly boil over today, but there was very good evidence of it on a couple of occasions, and particularly on the sending off.
Yes, there was a bit of an incident here at the end which could have got quite nasty, and it started first of all from Manus Boyle getting possession and probably should have got a free. I think he's undoubtedly fouled there. And the free went to Derry, and Manus Boyle shows his frustration in no uncertain terms. And it was near the end of the game. Donegal were behind and they were in trouble, and the ball straight away went to John McGurk. And this is really vicious tackle. Martin Gavigan goes in, and then Manus Boyle comes in, and Manus Boyle, like, it was 10 seconds, frustration still there. Then Eamon Coleman makes a drive at Brian McInniff. Manus Boyle is put off. He goes to have words with Eamon Coleman on the line as well, because there's obviously a lot of tension there. Eamon Coleman certainly has no friends in Donegal, because a lot of the Donegal players and Brian McInniff seemingly weren't friendly towards him at all today. And I think when Derry were in front, Eamon Coleman should have been able to show a bit of restraint. Sometimes fellas lose the head when they're behind and time is running out, but there was no need for Eamon Coleman to get involved in that incident there, because his side were in control of the game and the game was more or less over, and he should have really just left it.
As I said there a few moments ago, it's been a great 12 months for Donegal football, but where do they go from here? They obviously have still plenty of talent in the county. After all of this disappointment, pick themselves up and carry on, I suppose.
It will be difficult, because a lot of these Donegal players have been around for quite a while. The backbone of that team has been there for 5 or 6 years, and Brian McInniff has nurtured them to one All-Ireland title, but they also have been in a couple of other semi-finals in the latter stages of the league. So for the likes of Anthony Malloy and Martin Gavigan, who weren't fit to start today, it's going to be difficult for them to come back after that. Matt Gallagher, a lot of those players, Martin Shovlin, they've been around a while, but he brought in players then like Mark Crossan and Paul Carr and John Duffy, and they obviously are going to be the foundation for the future. But I don't know whether Brian McInniff himself would have the heart to come back, because he's put a lot into Donegal, and I suppose he's got one title out of it, an All-Ireland title, which is a lot, but it'll be hard for him now to go back and start all over again. He's after losing a league title and an Ulster title, and that's heartbreaking in the 1 year.
Yeah. I have a feeling at the same time, Colin, they're not all going to give up that easily in Donegal. We will, of course, be seeing Derry again in the All-Ireland semi-final. And congratulations to Derry once again on having won that Ulster title today. Well, we have 3